There are things you may inadvertently be doing that is preventing you from getting out of the rank you so desperately want to rise from. If you don't learn these things, you may never improve or reach your maximum potential. Hi, I'm Coach Mills, and in this guide, I'm going to be breaking down the most common mistake in every SR that prevents you from ranking up. So we're going to be kicking it off in the bronze rank. Now in the bronze rank, players often don't play the game enough. The easiest way to summarize the bronze rank is people that aren't comfortable. They're either new players specifically on PC, or players that honestly don't put that much playtime in. Don't feel bad if you're a bronze player. If you want to rank up to the next rank, silver, you need to play until you become comfortable. Using your controller or your mouse and keyboard need to become second nature to you. You don't need to be thinking about spacebar is jump. You need to know that spacebar is automatically jump, and you intuitively know this. What I'm saying is, become extremely comfortable with the game, understanding what a character can do, understanding what you can do, and if you can execute these things, often you're ready to rank up to the silver rank. Now that you're in the silver rank, there's a new set of mistakes that players often make. The most common mistake that players make in silver is not specializing to a specific role. What I mean by that is players often spread themselves far too thin in silver. In fact, this is a mistake that if you don't fix now, can cause many problems as you rank up down the line. Specializing to specific roles not only allow you to maximize your playtime on those roles, but it allows you to learn game sense, positioning, and mechanics for the roles that you want to play. Spreading yourself too thin also spreads out your development too thin. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you're a silver player and you want to be a hit scan main. However, instead of playing 6 hours a day and putting 6 hours into a hit scan player, learning the mechanical, the game sense, and the positioning aspects of that character, you're putting 2 hours into Lucio, 2 hours into Orisa, maybe 2 hours into McCree. This is something that's really important for you to understand. You're not learning how to aim, you're not learning the mechanical aspects of McCree while you're playing Lucio. You're not learning positional knowledge on McCree while playing Orisa. The positioning of an Orisa versus a McCree is vastly different, because while Orisa needs to try to be taking space and defending her team, McCree needs to be getting in position to do damage, and because he's a DPS, the positionings and the safe places he can take are much different. In this way, while your time is not completely wasted, it is massively underutilized, and aids minimal in your development and improvement as a player. Ultimately, what finding your specialty and your hero pool does, it allows you to push your improvement in the fastest rate possible and helps you develop as a player that much quicker. Try to specialize yourself into a specific category of heroes. Try to make your hero pool as small as possible so that you can maximize the amount of time you spend on those heroes and you can maximize your improvement on those heroes. It's extremely rare to find someone in silver that one-tricks a character stay in silver for very long. If you play the game a decent amount of time, it is extremely hard for you to not rank up if you maximize your time on a very few set of heroes. Having a few heroes in your hero pool can help you develop as a player so that you can easily counterpick the enemy team. However, don't spread your hero pool out too wide so that you're not actually improving on the heroes that you're playing. Trying to get better at every hero and every role could take so much time that you're honestly developing at a snail's pace, and if you don't play the game an extreme amount, you'll never truly rank up and you could be stuck in silver forever. Have you been stuck in the same rank for many months, confused and frustrated about how to improve? Are you having a hard time finding quality information that you can learn from in order to improve yourself as a player and rank up to the next level? Don't worry, we got you covered. GameLeap.com is the only place where you'll find high quality guides all created by GM players to ensure that you get that quality information to get that sweet SR and rank up. What are you waiting for? Come check us out in the links down below. Now we're in the gold rank. Now in the gold rank, the most common mistake is players don't often work together in a way that is conducive to victory. Working together here is the key, and this is something that I really need to emphasize what I mean. Enabling each other, comboing ultimates, or generally trying to accomplish what your teammate is trying to do. Gold is the first rank where you're actually starting to play Overwatch as a true team-based game. You really need to be thinking about what your teammates are doing and how to enable them for the victory. You could do this on any other role. It is impossible to win the game by yourself, but as long as you enable your teammates, you can easily clutch the victory. The amount of impact that 3 people could have working alone is very diminished compared to the amount that 2 people can have that are working together. Teamwork is the key here, and I'm going to be giving you a few examples to help you understand this. If you are a Mercy and your McCree is trying to kill the Pharah, it is your job to support him. Not only will you supporting him make it so he might be able to kill the Pharah, but he might be 2, 3, or 4 times as effective. Because maybe alone, he'll never be able to kill that Pharah. Maybe he takes some damage and he doesn't easily kill the Pharah. However, with you helping him, he doesn't have to be afraid of dying. he does more damage, you can enable him to do his job better. You identifying that McCree needs help in that matchup can be the difference maker in you winning that game, or your McCree getting destroyed and him not having any impact at all. Now let's flip the script a little bit. If you are that McCree and your Rhine is getting bullied by a Reaper that is constantly walking into him, it is your job to protect him. You really need to be putting yourself in the shoes of every single person on your team. What I said before is this is the first time that you're playing Overwatch at a true team-based level. In Gold, you need to start thinking about Overwatch as a 6v6, not a 12-man free-for-all. You're not trying to do everything yourself. You need to be watching what your teammates are doing, and you need to be trying to enable them the best way you can. Enabling your team is something you can do from every role, and all it takes is for you to put yourself into the mindset of the team around you. If you can successfully do your job and enable your teammates, you'll easily rank up out of Gold. After you do this, you'll come up to the Platinum rank. Now in Platinum, the biggest mistake you often see is players not understanding what they can do in their role. You enabled your teammates in Gold, but in Platinum, things flip on their head because expectations start to rise. With those expectations and those molds, people often let other teammates down, and because of this, Platinum mentality takes a big turn. The toxicity level in Platinum skyrockets compared to previous ranks, and Platinum is one of the worst ranks as far as toxicity is concerned. This has to do with a lot of different factors, but ultimately what it has to do is expectation versus players meeting those expectations. When people often see a disconnect between what they think should be done and what is actually being done, they often get extremely frustrated. Now I'm going to explain to you why this mentality is not only counterintuitive for you ranking up, but it's not even the correct way to think about the game, and you should ignore this common precedent in Platinum if you really want to improve as a player. In general, players are extremely quick to recognize when someone else on their team has a role that they're not fulfilling when they neglect the fact that they could fill much bigger shoes themselves. Let me explain. Complaining at your DPS for not killing X person every game will never actually get you the wins over time. Complaining at your support for not sleeping the Doomfist that is attacking them will never actually get you the win, because where were you in that? If you rely on your team to do everything for you, why do you deserve the SR? If you are stuck in plat rank but constantly think that you're getting bad teammates, then what does that say about you as the difference maker? While teammates you get are always random, you are the constant. Your role is often number one thing that you should be worrying about. Learn your role and do whatever you can to push that to overlap with other things that you can do to help your team and have even more impact. While certain expectations of your team do exist, consider this. If your teammates could consistently fill the expectations that everyone puts on them, they would have easily ranked up. Every single player around you has something that they are missing or lacking that is keeping them at this rank, while at the same time having specific strengths that allowed them to get here in the first place. What you need to do as a player is try to fill the gaps in their weaknesses while exemplifying their strengths. Don't worry about what your teammates are or aren't doing, and don't use it as an excuse to try to put the blame on them. Think about what you can do to actually have impact, and what can you do to actually get the win for your team. Your teammates are always going to be random, but as I said before, you are the constant, and that means the average impact that you bring to every game is always on you. If you adopt this mindset and take it as a personal responsibility for every game that you think you could have done even the slightest bit more in, that will help you improve to the next rank. Diamond. In the Diamond rank, there are actually a lot of different mistakes, and there's almost too many to count. The problem with Diamond is the randomness of players in Diamond. Mechanics, game sense, positioning. Anyone can end up in Diamond for a mixture of all these things. Sometimes players in Diamond honestly don't have that much game sense or positioning, but they have the raw mechanics from other games. And sometimes players really become students of the game, and even with poor mechanics, they end up in Diamond. That being said, the biggest mistake I see in Diamond is not being able to identify strengths and weaknesses. This breaks down into a lot of different things, but firstly, let's talk about in-game. Being able to acknowledge the strengths and weaknesses of an enemy team's pick versus your pick. When you're playing a McCree versus a Reaper, who has the advantage? In what ways do you have an advantage versus that Reaper, and in what ways can he actually win the matchup versus you? How can you set up scenarios to where that 1v1 will never be one that the enemy team wins? Even if you have a disadvantage, how can you flip that advantage or overcome that advantage with mechanics, positioning, or game sense? This is the rank that you should also analyze your own weaknesses and learn to overcome it. Can you play out this 1v1 that you're supposedly favored in to the expected result? Or will you lose even though you have a positive matchup? Maybe if this is the case, you need to work on your mechanics and really grind them. Try hard free-for-all, Havana deathmatch. There are many ways that you can really practice your mechanical aptitude in order to win matchups that you should have won in the first place. If you can't even identify strengths versus weaknesses in game, then maybe your game sense needs work. Maybe you need to start analyzing games more in order to emphasize that. Maybe you die a lot because you're in the wrong place and your team can't help you. Then maybe it's your positioning. Going above Diamond requires you to think critically about your own strengths and weaknesses and how to address those to become a more balanced player. The biggest mistake I see in Diamond is players not defining their own mistakes and working to improve them. Many players in Diamond don't even know their own weaknesses, much less are trying to fix them. If you want to rank up past Diamond into Masters, you need to identify your weaknesses and work on addressing them, while at the same time trying to maximize your strengths in each and every game you play. If you systematically address every one of your weaknesses and focus on improving each and every one of them, with hard work and dedication, you will make it to the Masters rank. Masters, the last frontier before GM. Most Masters players have a decent understanding of the game. They know how to address their weaknesses and overcome them with strengths. Now, the biggest mistake that most Masters players make is not understanding the difference between respect granted and respect earned. This is going to take some serious explaining, so let me break this down. In some scenarios, you need to realistically give the enemy credence to their ability to deal damage to you. I find the biggest mistake at this rank is many players either over-respect players automatically in a way that they don't push the bounds of impact that they could possibly reach out of fear of getting killed or punished, or they give no respect to enemy players even after the enemy team has shown that they deserve that respect. In that way, they die way too much and they become a big liability for their own team. To become a GM player, you need to have a perfect mix of caution and confidence that can propel you into the future. Furthermore, you need to be able to adapt that scale depending on your opponent's ability. Some players you run into will demand more respect in certain scenarios, and if you fail to acknowledge that, you will be outplayed and outskilled every time. Acknowledging these strengths and weaknesses of the enemy and pushing those bounds to the maximum while also having honed mechanics, game sense, and positioning will push you to the GM rank. In the battles of players at this level, you really want to push the bounds of everything you can get away with while at the same time not getting punished for it. If you could be aggressive in your positioning and not get punished for it and get more value, then do it. If you can stand in this place and get a cheeky nade through this spot in order to get more value and win this team fight, then go for it. Pushing the bounds of what the enemy team allows you to do and trying to maximize the impact you have in every single scenario is how you'll rank up to GM rank. Now, I want to make it really clear that these tips are often just common things that I see. What could be holding you back from improving could be vastly different, or you could be stuck in a one rank and the problem is something from different ranks. All these tips are solid and they all stack in one another. Make sure that you're an extremely balanced player, and putting in the time and hard work is the one true way in order to climb. I hope a lot of these tips have been helpful for you. Please let me know in the comments if there's anything you agree or disagree with. I'm Coach Mills, and until next time. Do you want to gain SR at an extremely fast pace so you can blaze through the ranks and get to that sweet, sweet GM? GameLeap.com has everything you need in order to improve as a player and rank up so that you can get to GM that much quicker. Every single GameLeap video is handcrafted by a GM player to ensure that you're getting the best quality content available. We are so confident that our product will help you that we offer a 10-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Come check us out risk-free in the links down below.